Hey guys, so this is going to be the long-awaited office tour video. You guys ask me all the time if you can see it, and I wanted to change it up for the spring and summer seasons and also share with you guys some tips on how you can refresh your space and actually work with color for some people who don't even like color, like myself. I'm very neutral. So we're going to be sharing some DIYs and talking about how to go about decorating your office. So if you guys saw my rustic DIY video, I will have it here. This was kind of a good representation of my style during the winter time, and it kind of transcended into my office space. It's very neutral, very rustic, a little bit more masculine, and then during the spring and summer, I like that kind of more fun beach club, like South Beach Regency style, if that makes any sense to anybody. So I'm going to show you how you can start to incorporate color and pattern into your space when you are someone who actually really loves white like I do, and I'm going to share with you some really easy, fun, inexpensive DIYs. So let's get started. So the first tip you want to do is clean out all the clutter, everything that has been piled up all winter long, so old mail, old magazines, things that you don't need anymore. Clean off everything and throw out, shred what you don't need. You have to be able to find an organization system that works for you, whether it's paper or filing cabinets. I just did a video all about how I am starting to go paperless, and guys, it is seriously life-saving. I can't believe I didn't start this last year or even sooner, so I will also have that video down below. I recommend keeping your office a multi-purpose space. That way you want to spend time in here. Whether you have a sofa or a comfortable chair where you can also do work from, that's just one of my little tips on creating a more inviting office. You should always have great lighting. That way, if you have to work into the wee hours of the night, you have something that will keep you awake, like a task lamp or a floor lamp. There's something fun about looking at a wall when you're working, and it can be the most unmotivating thing ever. Put your desk near a window, or if you do not have a good space to put your desk where you are facing out of a window, if you can put a mirror above it, it will reflect a window, whichever window is in the room, so that way you kind of have a bigger depth of vision. Or if you really don't have any windows, try just hanging a bright, colorful, inspirational piece of art. And if you really don't have anywhere to put art or a mirror, you can always just use a plant in your sight of view, so that way it's something alive that can make you feel a little bit more energized during the day. One thing that I kind of got stuck in the rut of doing was having so much white in my office that I didn't have objects that were inspiring to me. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with things that you love, but remember to keep it clutter-free. So whether it's a nice quote, a nice piece of art, something that is important to you. White can be very energizing for your space, and if you like metallics, that's another great way to kind of bring in some contrast to the room if you really don't want to go for the full-on color. But if you want to branch out this spring and summer and add a little bit of color into your space, here are my top tips. Pick one spot in the room where you're going to feature the color and just keep it clustered and all together, or you can pick different variations of one shade and have it throughout the room. I like to take a lot of the rustic, more masculine pieces out of my space during the spring and summer and bring in a more lighter, natural look, so wicker and driftwood, things that look a little bit more light and can play against the color, so that way it doesn't look really heavy in the room. Surprisingly, patterns can be very calming if you use neutral tones or dialed down tones, and don't be afraid to layer different shapes, sizes, and textures together, because it can actually look really, really cool. So the first thing that I did in my space was to remove a lot of the clutter. I took away a lot of the magazines that I had on my bookshelf, a lot of the knickknacks, anything that was really distracting. I decided to either donate it or recycle it. Of course, I also cleaned out all of my shelves and dusted because it is spring cleaning season. I also vacuumed and dusted all of the objects on the shelf that I really wanted to keep. And I laid them all out on the floor and really looked and said, okay, this is not going, this is not going. Those black candles are very Halloween, they're out of here. Since I knew I was going to be bringing color back into the space, I wanted to get rid of anything that was really drastic. So I had some black and white patterns on my bookshelf. I decided to take those away and keep that area looking very neutral and just using the magazines to bring in some color, some really pretty blues and greens that were going to be calming. With continuing to remove a lot of the rustic feel, I took away most of the copper pieces that I had and either exchanged them for something fresh looking, like these blue colored objects. I have this old car die-cast model. I also have some fresh orchids that look really nice and just make this room feel a little bit more alive. As I mentioned before, I love tropical stuff, so I tried to bring in a little bit of that, some of that surf culture, and play it up in here without like overkilling it. Plus I wanted some fresh plants, so I have these awesome palms and one of these cane sugar trees. They're inexpensive. You can get them at any like home and garden store. I got mine at Home Depot. Now, if you don't want to have a huge plant in your office, you can make these super easy succulent terrariums. All I did was purchase a pot at Home Depot with some cactus soil and a few of my favorite succulents, and have this sitting right next to my desk. And I had some leftover remnant pieces from a tile project I had done previously. You can buy remnant tile, sometimes you can even get it for free. So all I did was hot glue it to the back of a previous piece of cork board. You can use just cork and felt, or you can just use an old coaster that you're no longer using. It's also important to keep visuals that are going to inspire you, so I have a large cork board in the back of my office that I decided to take down all of the winter themed things that were on there and put up some things that made me think of spring and summer. So you can tear out pages from magazines, or you can print out pictures from the internet and have those to look at to get you inspired. I also bring out some of my favorite artwork for the spring. I have pieces that I've done myself. If you guys didn't know, I'm an illustrator, so I hung some of my favorite summer pieces and my favorite Peter Stanek painting and my gray Malin photo that I am in love with. So just as a recap for how you guys can refresh your space for spring, think clean, fresh, floral, and greens, and you've got it. Remove all the unnecessary things and start bringing in a little bit of color. Contain it in one area if you're afraid to branch out, and remember to always have inspiring things in your space. I'm gonna be doing a full-on office tour for you guys and showing you how I organize everything and keep a clean desk. So I'm also doing a refresh your space for spring video for the bedroom and the bathroom, and they will also have DIYs, so you guys can stay tuned for that. But if you're not following me on Instagram, the link is right here. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye! Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you know. Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you know. Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you know. Rufus boy, let me love. Caught up in my tape.